In the early days, the South Bend office consisted of John Fair, Jim Leskowski, Charlie Clark, and myself. It was a small operation, but a fun working environment. Jim handled all the financial issues, and I was in charge of all marketing efforts. Periodically, Jim would enter my office and tell me he had some bad news for John. He would then ask me to deliver the news. Being a team player, I always tried to help Jim out with these sensitive issues. This went on for about 3 years, and I finally asked Jim, "Why is it you always want me to give bad news to John?" He turned to me and responded, "When you walk into John's office, you tell him a couple of jokes, slip the bad news in between the jokes, and then John walks out of the office laughing and slapping you on the back. When I walk into John's office and give him bad news, I get my ass chewed, John's yelling at me until he's red in the face, and I can only assume after this conversation that Jim has never learned. It is not the message, it is the delivery." The 1980s were an exciting time for Holladay in the Midwest. We completed and moved into our first commercial project. Really good at moving. We had 4 different offices and stopped building apartments with the exception of Maple Lane Elkhart, which began in 1986. In 1985, John Fair became a partner of the Holladay Corporation, and we started our first substantial rehabilitation of a closed factory, 3300 Sample Street. This was a converted Milton Bradley croquet toy plant, and we converted into multi-tenant office and warehouse space. Sample Street has had its ups and downs, but remains a project that generates revenue for Holladay, and today it is home to a unique tenant mix. We also developed our first build-to-suit for Signature Insurance, a subsidiary of Montgomery Ward's at 851 Marietta in South Bend. To build 851 Marietta, we took down an old school and used the fixtures, including doors, granite, and bathroom partitions in 227 Main Street, a property we were renovating and planning for our next office. John inherited the kindergarten door, which caused a lot of laughs at the time. These fixtures are still present in the building and in Holladay's current office space, which puts us light years ahead of the green building movement. Community involvement has always been encouraged at Holladay, whether it be for humanitarian or professional development. Annual fundraising efforts have supported local economic development groups, including the Chamber of Commerce. Employees are also encouraged to get involved on a personal level, and most of our projects have come from these many community relationships. As of 1986, we had only developed projects in South Bend. I then convinced Wally that Nashville, Tennessee was up and coming, and we needed to be there. I volunteered to lead the new office and moved to Nashville. We purchased 2 separate sites to develop as industrial parks called Fessler's Lane Business Park and the Northgate Business Park. Meanwhile, as our tenant portfolio in South Bend grew, Holladay made an effort to show our appreciation. The South Bend property management team would take a van loaded with a grill, hot dogs, chips, and pop and set up a picnic. They visited 1 building per lunch hour each day through the summer to meet and greet and listen to tenants. As the 1980s grew to an end, the South Bend office developed 1 Michiang Square, Memorial Skyway, our first joint venture development, and the AM General Headquarters, who also moved into the Byrkit Avenue facility, a 600,000-foot building dating back to 1911, which we purchased in 1988. The redevelopment of this project required us to navigate various environmental issues, which weren't the only challenge that Holladay was facing at the time.